Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to talk about Wheel of Fate once again, and this time I'm going to cover some characters Wheel of Fate one by one, kind of talking about whether the different link or the power of fate is worth upgrading, because the resource for upgrading this is actually pretty rare, and there's so many different choices you can make. So this is almost, I'm not going to call it a tier list, but I am kind of doing like a very in-depth review one by one, talking about every single character and whether this is something that you actually want to consider upgrading. Now I'm going to evaluate this from two angles. One is I'm obviously going to look at the power fate effect itself to see whether this is actually a good effect. But then the other thing I'm also going to evaluate it from is whether the two characters actually have synergy together. Because sometimes you may have a really OP skill, but the characters have like negative or opposite synergy with each other, and you will never ever play them on the same team. And because Power Fate only activate when both of them are on the same team, so that's kind of why you have to take that into consideration as well. And that's kind of why I'm going to evaluate it. Now, there are loads of characters, and some characters have multiple World of Fate, so it's very likely that I won't cover all of the characters in one go. So what I'm planning to do is I'm going to split this up into multiple videos. In today's one, I am only going to cover, I believe, the God characters, the God Close characters, and also the Astral characters that have been released so far. In the future videos, I'll do, the Spectres, the Marinas, the Gold Knights, the Silver Knights, etc. But yeah, in today's video, just God characters, God clothes, and astronauts. All right, now let's start off from the beginning. Um, Actually, the very beginning should be Athena God clothes, but she doesn't have any Will of Fate in the game right now, so that's kind of why I'm skipping her. In the future, I mean, she still appears as like a passive, for example, for Seiya God clothes, but I will cover her that effect in say a Gold Coast section rather than in a single Gold Coast section, just to make sure I go through every single character one by one and doesn't miss anyone else. All right, starting off first one, Poseidon. Poseidon with Hydra and Cannon. This one basically gains 8% extra defense bonus for every ally alive in battle, and this is a strong effect in my opinion. The main thing here is that I'm not sure whether it helps much with Sea Cannon, but I can definitely see it helps a lot with Poseidon. The main reason is because Poseidon is one of those characters that needs like a long battle, so he gets a lot stronger as the battle goes on because he fully awakens, all of that. So if you are actually at the start of battle, that's normally when Poseidon is the fragiles, and that's when people try to kill you off. However, at the start of battle, you are going to have all five of your teammates alive, therefore there's a 40% extra defense bonus, etc. And that basically just greatly improves Poseidon's survivability to make sure he actually survives long enough to fully awaken, etc. So that's why it's really good for Poseidon. In terms of character synergy between those two, I think they work well together as well, mainly because Poseidon basically have that opening bounce effect. And normally, what people will try to do is place him in the front left position so that the enemy's left hand side and also the middle character, so those three enemies, or attack into Poseidon and have all of their attack bounce back. So effectively, you make three of the characters not doing any damage at the start of the battle. What you can then also do is you have Sea Dragon Cannon in the back right position, or in the front right position, but one of those two positions on the right hand side. And basically, Sea Dragon Cannon's open effect controls the enemy directly opposite him. So that basically means if you have both Sea Dragon Cannon and Poseidon in the positioning in the team, like I just mentioned, so Poseidon on the front left, Sea Dragon Cannon on one of the position on the right hand side, what you can actually do is make four of the enemy characters not doing anything at the very beginning of the battle, and that is going to give you a pretty good advantage in this battle. So that gives you a head start. So that's why I think the two characters can work together. All right, next character, Thanatos with Pandora. So this one's mainly about healing, and also 60% of the parts above HP cap will convert into a shield. Alright, so I don't think this one is very good, mainly because if you remember, this effect is only going to be activated for Thanatos and Pandora. Now, Thanatos have a soul mode, so even if he's dead, he doesn't really care too much about that, so he doesn't really need healing. Pandora would benefit from healing, but the way Pandora works is first of all she's extremely fragile, and she also have like a wish of opposite, which is like a damage immunity. And because she have immunity, I do question how much or do you actually want the healing to take effect? Because most of the time she's more like having this invincibility or immortality effect rather than relying on healing. So that's why I don't think this is going to be too effective on her either. And in terms of synergy between those two characters, they're really bad pairing to be honest. The main reason is because Pandora, the way you play Pandora is that you normally want the enemy to have low HP percentage because her ultimate basically hits the knight on the field with the lowest HP percentage. It can hit, I believe, like 5 times in a row. So if you have an enemy with already low HP percentage, all 5 hits goes for that person, you are immediately able to one shot. So that's normally how you play Pandora, more as a damage dealer. Now, the thing with Senators is that Senators actually delete the enemy's HP limit. So what that indirectly means is the enemy is actually going to get a higher HP percentage because essentially it's the same amount of HP that he has right now, but dividing over a smaller HP limit. So therefore HP percentage is higher. And that's why it's kind of like it's not really the way you want to play Pandora, because what that actually means is you almost turn like Pandora from like a damage dealer to healer because your knights are now more likely to have lower HP percentage, and therefore Pandora would be healing your own knights rather than damaging the enemies. So I'm not sure that's the best way to play Pandora. So that's kind of why I don't think this one's something that you should upgrade at all. Definitely ignore this one. Senators with Hypnos decrease the damage from light characters by 30%. There's a typo here. This is a really strong effect actually because a lot of the really strong DPS in the game right now are actually light characters. You have say Cockroach, you have Poseidon, you have Saga Light, etc. So yeah, this is really useful. Now, would you play Hypnos and Santos together? Yeah, I think you can play them together as well because I think Hypnos, the main thing with Hypnos is that he do lots of like stalling attacks. So he actually make the battle goes on longer because he heal up your own knights. He also have this, his ultimate have this like dream space, which basically I believe first of all, heal yourself up, but also making the enemy not able to release loop skills, etc. And that basically just makes the battle goes on a lot longer. And that's really good for Sanatos because Sanatos just delete the enemy's max HP second by second. Well, not second by second, but every now and then. And if you're able to stall the game out long enough, then you are essentially gonna make that hurt even more. Because even if the enemy have a super defensive team that you're not able to break through at the start, you're deleting their max HP. So eventually, even if they have full HP, it could be only like 10 or 20 from where they were at the start of the battle, and that's going to be really strong for you. So yeah, so I think Santos do work quite well with a team that makes the battle goes on longer. So that's why I think those two are good synergy together. So yeah, so this one I think is worth upgrading if you do have both of them. Next one we have Hypnos. Hypnos has all feet. Decreases the Cosmo up near by 1,000 for every 10 seconds in battle. Oh, this one's pretty strong. I believe most of Ultima's Cosmo is 8,000, but this is all. So this is going to decrease about 12.5% every 10 seconds. The way with this is Ophi and Hypnos, they're both very control heavy characters. So if you have both of them on the same team, the battle is likely going to last quite a long time. So you'll definitely be able to trigger and stack this up. So I think this is really, really strong skill actually. Would you play them together? Yes, you would as well because all three have this kind of resonance effect, and basically you play all three with lots of other control characters as well. Tape notes as a control character, so they have good synergy here as well. Alright, next one, Papillon Mule. Gains 45% defense bonus within 8 seconds after the beginning of the battle. This one's absolutely useless. I will avoid this at all costs. Hypnos already have a built-in passive, which basically, or opening attack, which basically means the enemy attacking speed is like reduced to 0 at the start of battle and only gradually recover. So if that's the case, why do you even need extra defense bonus, right? It's overlap massively. And similarly with Papillon Mule is already really able to survive for a really long time with his own passive as well, with just kind of constant immunity and healing, etc. So yeah, this one's definitely wasted on them. So yeah, I'll definitely avoid this one. There's no need to upgrade this. Even though those two knights, you probably would play them on the same team. I think in terms of actual skill itself, it's just a bit of a waste. So yeah, so don't upgrade that one, please. Water Sinner restore 6% of max HP and add 6% of HP cap after releasing a skill each time. Can be stacked 5 times. Um, I think this one's quite strong. I think. Um, Yeah, I think this one's quite good. Mainly for Astral Seiya, what you have is that he has the ability to follow up attack, so he's very likely to be able to release skills quite quickly, and therefore you are able to stack very quickly for him. But Water Sinner is quite useful as well, mainly because Water Sinner is normally quite fragile. So if you're actually able to just recover a tiny bit of extra HP and also increase your HP cap with your looping skills, etc., then I think it's not bad. Now, whether you would actually play them together in the same team, I'm not too sure about that. Normally, you play Astra, say, with lots of other wing characters who are able to knock back the enemy so that he can follow up attacks. So you are essentially then trading off a follow up attack with Water Sinner. So yes, I'm not sure whether you would play them together. So yeah, so my verdict on this is the skill is okay, but probably not worth upgrading because you wouldn't play them together. With Evil Saga, gains 3,000 customer after the first kill. Um, Once again, a really strong skill. I'm not sure whether you want to play Evil Saga with Water Cena though, because they're both quite fragile. So, and if they're both quite fragile, what that basically means you normally want to bring a few more defensive knights to make sure they actually survive long enough. But if you bring more defensive knights, then that means you have less firepower. And if you have less firepower, it's going to make it harder for you to get the first kill to actually activate this. So yeah, I am fairly neutral about the skill as well. Good skill, but I don't think you will actually play those two together. So probably not your priority for upgrading. I'll probably leave this towards the very end. With uh, what's this guy? Gemini Cannon. 6 seconds after battle starts, gains 24% attack and medium restore 1500 customer. Well, this one's really strong, actually. Yeah, I really like this one. The reason why I really like this one is, first of all, Gemini Cannon. Normally, Gemini Cannon, you place him up front in order to activate his passive, confusing enemy, etc. But normally the problem with that is if you place him up front in order to confuse three enemies at the start of the battle, he is not quite bulky enough to last long in the battle. So you normally want other protection alongside with him. However, if you are then able to quickly restore Water Singer's Cosmo and allow Water Singer to release ultimate quicker, which is that healing effect. And Water Singer's healing effect basically means that during that time, none of your knights can be killed during the duration of the ultimate, and that is going to greatly improve your Gemini Cannon's survivability. So that's why it's really nice. And also, if you're able to gain Gemini Cannon have higher Cosmo at start battle as well, that also helps because the way Gemini Cannon plays is normally you want to do maximum amount of damage at the start of battle so that even when he dies, he allows all of the enemy to take all of the damage they suffered already. So essentially, he normally can take one or two enemy alongside with him when he dies. A bit of like a kamikaze effect. So if you're actually increasing his attack to at the start, that basically increases how much damage you're able to do, and also how much damage you're able to do again when you die. So that's also going to be very nice. But yeah, this one is very nice, and like I said, Water Singer's ultimate actually goes quite well with Gemini Cannon, so I can see those two being played together as well. So yeah, so I think this is a really good one for you to upgrade. All right, last one. Ooh, this one's gonna be expensive with Senator's Hypnos and also Poseidon. Each attack gains 6% attack bonus for 8 seconds. The effect can be stacked 5 times. Hmm. I think this one is really good, obviously, on Poseidon, because Poseidon is a damage dealer. Well, I mean, it's like a control based damage dealer, so extra attack is always going to be good. It's definitely going to be wasted on both Hypnos and also Water Cena, mainly because they are more like healers, so you don't really need that extra attack. Now, in terms of Sanatos, this is a bit of a tricky one as well. Well, I mean, Sanatos is a DPS to some extent, you're deleting the HP limit. So extra attack would help. Actually, extra attack would help Santos quite a bit because when Santos into soul mode, what you actually want is for him to do a high amount of damage so that he can then life steal some and recover HP as a result. So high attack is definitely going to work it. So yeah, so this one I think is a quite good skill. It benefit mainly just Poseidon and Santos, but you are able to do that. The main thing I have concern with this one is that it's very expensive for you to build up. You need three light and dark characters, and then you're also going to be forced to bring in water scene, and that's going to really restrict your team building. So this is probably not going to be one of the priority to level up, even though it's actually quite good skill because you don't really want to be restricted by in terms of your team building choices, etc. All right, next one. God close Shiru gains an extra 60% defense bonus after 10 seconds of beginning battle. This one's good. So this one was Hypnos, and I like this with Hypnos because Hypnos have an opening attack, opening skill, which basically makes him really strong. Well, makes all of the enemies attack really low at the start, I think first 6 or 7 seconds in the battle. And now what happens is that after you survive long enough, then you're gonna get permanent 60% defense bonus as well. So that's really nice. If you play this with Gokul Shiru, that's also gonna work as well because Gokul Shiru play normally up front and he also protect the other front row. If you're increasing that person's defense, yeah, I think this one works quite well. Obviously, it's expensive to like a dark character, but I think this one can have good synergy. And also I can see them two being played in the same team. So worth considering upgrading if you do have to have both of them. Goku Seiya, I'm very familiar with this one. All damage dealt to dark enemy is increased by 30%. So what we're going to say about this one is I don't think the skill is very good. It sounds amazing on paper. All damage dealt to dark enemy is increased by 30%. Sounds amazing on paper. But the thing is, you have to take a look at what are the dark characters that are actually in the meta right now. A lot of the dark characters are quite fragile. Like Pandora. If I have, say, a God close doing my ultimate to Pandora, she's dead. I don't need extra 30%. If I'm doing this to Evil Saga, he's dead. I don't need extra 30%. If I do this to Sanatos, he will just enter soul mode. Absolutely useless. If I do this to Sea Dragon Cannon, he will be dead. Like, yeah. I love the dark characters are really fragile. The only one I can see this actually works is against Hypnos. So this is kind of why I'm not too great fan of this skill. Now, having said that, because this is with Athena Gold and those two characters are both very OP characters and very likely both going to be on your team, I do think this is something that is worth for you to upgrade. Mainly, actually, upgrade at least to level 9 to definitely take advantage of the extra stats effect. But have a think about the power fade. It is likely going to be one of the most common one for you to actually able to activate, even though the skill itself is not that strong. So that's kind of a choice you have to make. All right. Now moving on to the next one, Astral Seiya. So now we'll move to Astral Knights. With Seiya Go Close, this one is after each crit hit, restore 18% of lost HP. The effect has 2 second trigger. This is going to be amazing with Seiya Go Close. The reason why this is amazing with Seiya Go Close is because Seiya Go Close has really high crit rates. And what that basically means is that as the battle goes on, what you're able to do is you're going to recover HP. And Seiya Goku is one of those characters who is capable of 1v5. If you're able to, because he has like immortality, like immunity every now and then as well with his passive. So what that basically means is that you'll be keep on healing. You also have the ability to. Actually, I don't think it's no, it's not immortality. It's like a cap on the damage every few seconds. And if you're also capping how much damage, say, a Goku can take, and at the same time you are restoring HP, it's gonna be unkillable. And if you say Goku is unkillable, he's totally able to 1v5. So this one is actually really strong. In terms whether it's worth it for Astral Seiya, I think Astral Seiya has okay crit rate as well. So I do think you will probably be able to trigger this as well. And in some sense, he also have quite good like damage reduction skill built in. So once again, with already a high damage reduction and also your healing at the same time, this is also going to make Astral Seiya really hard to kill. So I definitely think this is actually a really good skill. Now that I think about it, it works really well on both Seiya Gokus and also on Astral Seiya. Whether you play both of them together on the same team, that, however, is a different question. Obviously, say Goku, you can play him pretty much on any team. With Astra Say, I already talked about this before, but normally you play in a team where you have lots of other characters who are able to knock back so that he can follow up attacks. So once again, you're trading off say a go close with another character who are able to knock back. So yeah, so that's a decision you have to make. Whether you're actually likely to play both of them together, but the skill itself is actually pretty strong. All right. Now moving to the next one. This one increase 30%. Oh yeah, I remember seeing this one. So, but first of all, there's a translation error. I have no idea what's restraint sign, but I have checked other languages. What this is actually saying is elemental advantage. So, Astrazeia and also Jermaine are both wind characters, so they have elemental advantage against Earth Knight. So basically, what it's saying is that you have increased damage bonus dealt to Earth character, which is pretty nice. Now, 30% extra damage bonus. Uh, I don't know. I mean, the skill itself, I have neutral feeling about it. I think it's not bad. It's not amazing either. It's very team dependent whether the enemy actually have Earth characters. And on top of that, uh, these two characters, to be honest, are not very meta choices. So I don't think anyone's going to upgrade this as their first choice. So yeah, so I think we can skip this one, even though the skill itself is okay. But it's very situational, very team dependent. All right. Astro Hugo with Mirror, Scorpion Mirror. 1 HP drop below 25% for the first time in battle, restores 30% max HP within 3 seconds. This is actually pretty good for Mirror. The reason why this is really good for Scorpion Mirror is because he is really fragile, and also he takes a long time to actually kill because he basically needs to get his Scarlet Needle to stack up to 15 times in order for that instant kill. However, because he's so fragile, it's very likely that he will be killed off before it can get stacked up. However, if you have this ability, you are then basically essentially able to have almost like extra bit of like trigger healing, which is really nice. That's going to improve his survivability. And in terms of whether you actually place those two knights together, it can actually work as well. Well, so as for Hugo, you would preferably you want to play him in a freeze team. That's where he's the best at. However, if you as I do not have a proper freeze team because you don't have an Aquarius Hugo built up or whatever, then you have to play Astra Hugo in a different team. Then I actually think this works quite well because Astra Hugo's constellation effect also have kind of this pinch healing where if any knight is about to be killed off, then he frees that knight and then give recover a bit of HP as well. So basically, with that effect, with Astra Hugo's constellation, and also this power of fate effect, your Scorpion Mirror is gonna get 2 extra lifeline, and that's almost going. I'm pretty sure that should be enough for you to at least guarantee 1 kill with your Scarlet Needle, and that could then be really really strong. So you are able to at least get an instant kill straight off, or guarantee an instant kill with placing both of them together. So I do think this is actually a really strong one for you to upgrade. But yeah, so yeah, skill is very strong, and I can see those two being played on the same team. The only concern you may have on this is that if you do play Astro Hugo in proper freeze team, it's very unlikely you'll play a Scorpion Mirror in the same freeze team. So that's probably the only reason why you may not want to upgrade this. But otherwise, this is actually a really strong power fate. All right, next one, Astra Shun. Oh, this one I have one, so easy with Isle. Gain an extra 270 Cosmo per attack. That is pretty good, I think. Uh, I need to compare this to Athena God Close because Athena God Close has a passive which gains Cosmo per second. Let me check. So Athena God Close gains 250 Cosmo for every single ally for every 2 seconds. So that's very similar to this because normally every normal attack happens like 1/2 second. So this is actually slightly faster than a single God Close passive. Obviously, it's only activated on Io and also Astral. Astral has a very defensive build with his ultimate, so you'll be using that for a defensive purpose. Whereas Io's ultimate is more for kind of interruption effect. I mean, it does okay amount of damage, but the interruption effect is probably the more well-known reason of why you want to use it. So yeah, so I think the skill itself is quite strong. I don't really think the two have much synergy though. I'm struggling to think in what scenario would you play both of them together. I mean, Astro Shun is a very flexible character that you can almost play everywhere. Io is very situational. Io, you pretty much only play him in order to kill off an enemy assist knight or an enemy skill knight, etc., by facing him directly opposite him. So yeah, so I'm not too sure about that, to be honest. Yeah, so I guess very similar to some of the other verdict I gave so far. I think it's a very strong skill, but I don't think you are likely going to be activated too much purely because I don't think you actually play those two knights together. So if you do happen to have both knights and you do actually play them, then I think you can upgrade them. But otherwise, it's going to go towards the back of the list purely because of how rare you may actually be able to use it. All right. I believe that should be the last astronaut. Yeah, so that's the last astronaut. Now we move on to the specters. So yeah, so that's the video today. Hope you guys found it useful. If you guys want me to talk about anything else in terms of like Will of Fate, then please do let me know. I'll try to, like I said, cover the rest of the characters one by one in the future as well. So if you do have any recommendations on how to improve potentially how I do this, then do let me know soon so that I can incorporate it in my future videos when I talk about all of the other nuts.